Ground ball. McLean, second. 12 in a row. The oldest team in professional baseball has its 5th ever winning streak of a dozen straight.
Our job every day is to try to kick somebody's ass. I mean, that's why we're here.
That is caught. Left center. Reds win.
And this ball is launched high and very deep to right, long gone. It's second of the night. Elly De La Cruz.
Short lead for Pena. Larkin drills it. Do you believe this? It's going to be gone. Back to back. Walk-off home runs. How about this? He's back. He's back. He's back.
And a swing and a drive. Deep left field. This one belongs to the Reds.
Swung on and hit
Deep to left field. That ball is going to be gone. Home run. And the Reds put it 5-4.
Goes to second one. Around the first. Got a double play. And the Reds sweep the Cubs. Breaking ball. Hit high. Hit deep. Way back there. And gone. Into the second deck and left. Christian Encarnacion Strand walks it off.
Archer does it in his major league debut. He gets the final 3 outs, and the Reds get an extra inning win. A thriller 5-4.
Swung on. Fly ball. Hits the deep right field. That ball is going to be gone. A grand slam home run by Mike Cameron.
2 outs, 2 on. Reds down by 1. Larkin down the line. It's a winner. It's a winner. Here comes Tucker. Here comes Steins. Larkin's won the game. Barry Larkin gets mobbed. Look at this scene. It's synergy.
The stretch, the pause in the pitch, and a line drive, base hit left center field. A single for Aaron Boone, and this one belongs to the Reds. The Reds have won 8 in a row.
Kobayashi with a long look turns it loose, and Dunn hits it to deep right. It's all over, and this one belongs to the Reds. The Reds have won their 5th game in a row. They've defeated the Cleveland Indians on an Adam Dunn 3-run home run, 4-2. In on the corners at first and third. 2 on, nobody out. Here's Royce Ring pitching, no bunt. Ground ball by the third baseman into left field. Dave Bruce rounds third, and this one belongs to the Reds.
That's it pretty good. Guess what? He doesn't need speed. That's gone. He's the king of the Queen City tonight.
With 1 out here in the 11th inning, you sure got to go now.
One on, pull down the left field line. That ball is going to get the winning run in. Here comes Dave Bruce rounding third, heading toward the plate, and this one belongs to the Reds.
Huge situation for Votto. Why you paying the big bucks to deliver the goods with 2 outs in the 9th inning? Can he do it? In the gap right center field, and Votto delivers the goods.
Hit deep center field. Hank Hill going back at the warning track. Oh, it's gone. Joey Votto is delivered.
Good evening, Reds fans. Welcome to episode, I don't know, but it's August 5th. It's Reds versus Cubs. And Sam, I'm wondering, is Steve Bartman going to be at the game again tonight? What a game last night for the Reds. The Reds caught a few breaks. You know, Ian Happ decides to run into a wall. Dansby Swanson kicks a ball, and then he doesn't touch the bag, which helps the Reds win. But obviously the Reds had some not so good luck on their own. We'll get to that with Nick Lodolo here in a few minutes. But the Reds win, and our trade deadline superstar, Brian Hayes, helped win the game. Sam, what did you think of last night's victory and some of the things I just touched on?
Yeah, weird game. You know, both teams unexpected bullpen games with Soroka coming out too, hitting the IL just like Lodolo, but that's just a grinded out win. Back-to-back bullpen days for the Reds where you really don't expect that at all. You know, Lodolo's had this problem before. Seems like he's got chronic blisters, however that's possible. But, yeah, we've seen this before, so he's at it the most innings he's ever pitched, so it's hard to say you expected this, but, you know, it's not out of the ordinary. And for the bullpen, 7+ innings, only 3 hits. Only blemish was really when Martinez was in the game and he hung one to Swanson, and they got 2 on the board there. But, Barlow, he continues to be, I think, the most underrated Red this year. He just goes out there and eats innings for you. And he gave us 2 last night, 4 Ks, I believe. But, yeah, weird game. Offense wasn't really great at all. 2 check swing hits that you end up getting a run out of with McLean and Elly there. And then, like you said, Happ kind of kicks it around there in the outfield, and your 2 fastest Reds are on the base path. So you get a break there. And then, obviously, Brian Hayes with the unbelievable pick and then throw, but Swanson beats it. But, he ends up missing the bag, maybe a little bit of a Bartman luck there, like you said. But I don't think many third basemen even get the throw off. So
no.
That's very impressive there.
That's a perfect scenario of what we see. I made a comment about football last night. We're getting into football season, and I'm a baseball guy through and through. But seeing something like that from Brian Hayes last night reminds me of, one of those star cornerback with a pick. He's not going to get the chance, but when he has the chance, he takes advantage of it. Yeah. A big tackle on defense. So that's what you pay him for, and just hope the balls just continue to get vacuumed up by him and thrown across the diamond. And a lot of people, you're not going to hear me say anything bad about the first baseman, Spencer Steer, either. Maybe not hitting for as much power as we would like, but man, he can flat play some first base. And
he's been picking it lately.
He's been terrific. And quite frankly, there's no other options. So, we DFA'd Candelario, which no one remembers he was around this year. And the guy they really want to be their first baseman, CES, has been abysmal, as they would say in AAA. So, just a big time win. Those are the wins that you need this time of year. Yeah. It's getting late. And we'll talk about the playoff picture here at the end of the show. But especially when you're playing teams that are above you in the standings, these are big time wins. So hopefully the Reds can go for 2 in a row tonight. Next on here, just a little more housekeeping news. We did mention Nick Lodolo out early last night with a blister. I'm not a pitching guy, but I'm assuming it's his grip or something. You hear that a lot with some of these guys who throw like he does. So he is out. Yasser Zuleta is into the bullpen. And that means our good friend Nick Martinez is back into the rotation per Charlie Goldsmith, per Terry Francona. So let's talk about this real quick. Just popped in my head. Nick Martinez, I don't think he can get a qualifying offer again this year. But there's to me, a high chance that he's back in Cincinnati next year.
I want him back badly too. I love everything about Nick Martinez. He's one of the most valuable pieces, even if he's not, close to the best pitcher at all. He's the, 5th starter, fully healthy. He's in the bullpen actually. So, but there's so much we knock on it almost every week, just to be able to take the ball really whenever. He only went a little over 2 innings last night, I think, but that was because he was warming up the day prior, getting ready to go in on 3 days rest, and it was 4 days rest yesterday. But I would love to have him back. He's the most expensive Red right now, and I don't think he'll get that next year. But just a true team player. We see here in the chat, and he's done it all year. And even if he gives up 2 last night, just him to be able to take the ball, and he was running in. He just had the biggest grin on his face, and I just thought that was hilarious, because you just know he was thinking that didn't take too long for him to come back in and eat innings again, just like. He's back in the rotation now.
Yeah, I think the Reds will have a good shot. I mean, I of course, we always talk money here, and some of the salaries are going up across the team. But this year he's highly paid because of the qualifying offer. I think next year they could probably get him for around $30 million total. It's probably a 2-year deal. I see Jacob do. I think it'd be more than $24 million. But he's also kind of a weird cat too. Like, he could have probably got a lot more. A lot more guaranteed, but he said, I view this as a 1-year or a 2-year deal when I signed it, because it was an opt-out. So maybe he likes Cincinnati, which I don't blame him. I've been here my whole life too. So anyway, next on the starting pitching line tonight, is the debut of Mr. Zack Littell in a Reds uniform. Sam, what are you looking for in Littell? Ironically, I was at his, I think probably second to last start, or maybe his last start, second to last start with the Rays when he faced the Reds in Cincinnati. What's your thoughts on Littell?
3.58 ERA. He's got 133 innings pitched with a 1.12 whip. Whenever you're under that 1.2 whip, it's pretty decent. He's got a 1.12 here. And, the main thing, he just doesn't walk guys. He's second in the whole league in walks per 9. And, that can come to hurt him a little bit because he leads the league in home runs given up. So a lot of people are going to see that and, why did we get this guy? But, the situation that we're dealt with now, I think having him is absolutely huge because you're going to need another starter. If Nick Martinez was all we had right now, we'd be scrambling for, that fifth starter right now with Lodolo out. So it's huge to have him back. But yeah, not going to walk guys. 5 pitches. He's got a 4-seam sinker, split, slider, and a sweeper. You're going to see a good amount of all 5. Not a lot of fastballs out of him, though. He tries to even them out almost evenly throughout. But yeah, second in walks per 9 and most in home runs. So you're going to see him fill up the strike zone and try to have the other team beat him rather than him beat himself.
Yeah, and you know what? That's really what the Reds need. And at the end of the day, he's a 5-starter. It's either Zack Littell or Chase Petty. And I'm not trying to throw shade at Chase Petty, but
he's not there.
He's not there right now. And honestly, I'm still shocked that he's around still.
Yeah, and he's still top 100 prospect in the majors.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely.
You
just never know, and it could be all a mental thing. But regardless, they need someone who can pitch the rest of the year and pitch here in Great American Ballpark. Sometimes we have to remind ourselves that AAA innings still count as total innings on an arm. So we can't rely on these guys to throw 100. It's not like 100 down there and then 200 up here. It's that's just how it works. So I'm excited to see him. He's a solid guy. When he gave up 5 runs on 10 hits when he was faced the Reds a couple Fridays ago, but if my memory serves me right, he was really keeping them pretty tight early on. Maybe 1 or 2 runs in the first 4 or 5 innings, and it kind of blew up with him at the end there. But give me 5 innings tonight against the Cubs and let's ride. Looking forward to the addition. Another addition in the lineup tonight for not the first time, but I know he played Saturday, Sunday, however you want to call it. Miserable weekend for those in Bristol. Sam, you don't know this, but my neighbor tried to convince me to go. He called me Friday. He's like, let's go tomorrow. Yeah. Thank goodness I didn't.
Yeah, that would have been tough to be there.
It would have been tough to be there if on a whim too.
Yeah.
So Miguel Andujar, another acquisition at the trade deadline in the lineup tonight, batting 5th. What's your thoughts on him? Max and I covered it last night. It's Connor Joe or Miguel Andujar, and I'll take Miguel Andujar any day of the week.
Yeah, 100%. And it's a low risk move. You lose a guy that a lot of people haven't even heard of, that young arm.
Yep.
But yeah, Connor Joe, I'm taking Andujar over him every day of the week. You're facing a lefty tonight. That's why he's in there. Shota Imanaga, the Cubs ace, who we haven't mentioned yet, but he's been an awesome starter for them. One of the older rookies coming from Japanese league, I believe. But yeah, Andujar, they made this move for nights like this, facing a good lefty starter. Probably going to see him yanked there eventually. You got Lux, you got Fraley on the bench, but yeah, just a stereotypical platoon bat. He's batting .413 against lefties this year, and not a crazy sample size at all. 46 at bats, but 1014 OPS. And I believe the broadcast last night, Sadak mentioned that, I don't know, it's past couple years, but only guy ahead of him in kind of the main statistical numbers is Aaron Judge against lefties. And if you're in that kind of conversation with Judge, I mean, obviously this guy doesn't even come close to Aaron Judge, but if you can give some sort of value against something that the Reds haven't been great in, they haven't even been good against lefties, bottom 3 average in the league. But yeah, slotting in here 5th tonight, right behind Hayes. right in front of Steer. He's one of the only 2 or 3 guys who really kind of mashes lefties in this lineup. So I'm going to expect a lot out of him tonight. Hopefully get a big knock.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of getting an extended look at him. I know, I think Imanaga has been really, really a great addition to the Cubs rotation over the last couple of years, but I think he struggled the last couple outings. So hopefully the Reds can take advantage of that. And I'm just excited for, the rest of this lineup that, has kind of been heating up. Obviously Elly's been Elly, but he only had 1 home run in July or one home run in a few
at the
weeks.
very end.
Or
was that even in August?
No, I believe it was July 31st. I think.
You just barely snuck it in.
Yeah. Noelvi Marte has been, he's really put himself into the position of I'm a building block for this team. Love to see him in the outfield still. Interested to see if they put him out in center. I don't think they will, with Friedel obviously being the mainstay there, but interested long-term to see what they do. What's really interesting with me on the Marte situation is that he is the right fielder because they put Fraley out and left when they've played together. So that's interesting to me. And then obviously it looks like Hayes gets a breather tonight. And I'm actually pro that, he had a great play last night, but I can only imagine. I'm not sure if he has a family or anything. I haven't really dug into him that much. But even if he doesn't, this dude's he's moving from one place to another. He's got to take care of that, during the day when he's not playing. He's got to find some living situation in Cincinnati. I'm sure his agent's helping him, but he still has to do something with that. And, get the guy to Dick's Sporting Goods, Sam. He's wearing yellow cleats still. Someone hooked the guy up.
Yeah.
I just couldn't believe it. The first game, I get it. Okay. It's been almost a week. Let's get the guy some red cleats. The Stowe family, hook him up.
That might be where he's at tonight.
He might be.
Dick's Sporting Goods in Chicago trying to find some batting gloves and cleats.
He needs something because we can't. It could be worse. It could be like a Cubs blue or Milwaukee blue. That would just be disgusting. The Pirates
say this, but I'm kind of just thinking Noelvi, he's got all yellow accessories too. So I don't know if that's a new trend or something, but
no, so time out, everybody. If you don't know anything about me, I am a uniform snob. So number one rule for all uniforms, and thank goodness the Stowe family agrees with me. Pitchers cannot have single digit numbers. And the teens are pushing it. Shout out Emilio Pagán. Also with that, we have to kind of keep an eye out on how we present ourselves on the field. The Noelvi Marte yellow sleeve and gloves have to do, I believe, with the WBC. And he made a mention to it earlier in the year that he actually took everything off because he plays for Spain in the WBC. He took off his yellow sleeve and all of his yellow stuff and put it away. So he didn't want to bring attention to himself.
Okay.
Now he wants to, does he want to bring attention to himself, or is he like, okay, I'm back in the major leagues. I can kind of show my personality.
Yeah. He's feeling himself.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm keeping an eye on it. Elly changed up his chain at the All-Star break. He removed, he changed up his picture. That's a big deal too. And then also I think he did move away from the ice cream oven mitts. So those are things that I look out for. In the words of the old former Tracy Jones, shout out off the bench, shout out the radio station in Cincinnati. You people don't see that. I see that. That's what he always would say. But those are things I watch out during the game.
Yeah, I love it.
So, Sam, anything else going on in your brain? We ran through the lineup. We ran through last night's game a bit. What else do you think over the next
I got a little thing about the lineup here. We got Trevino in here catching, and that's mostly for a defensive, kind of the battery here with Littell making his first start. I'm sure it has to do with that, trying to get him kind of easing in because I think Trevino is much better catching behind the plate.
Yep.
But here against the lefty, against Imanaga, Stevenson's been minus Andujar, which is a new addition. He's probably been the second best against lefties this year behind Hayes, Austin Hayes, that is. He's got 893 OPS against lefties compared to a 689 against righties. And it seems like I don't really have any numbers to back this up or info to back this up, but it seems like he gets his off days kind of with a lefty on the bump for whatever reason. I just think with how weak we've been against lefties, having him in the lineup would be much nicer. And I'm sure there's stuff we don't know. Maybe this is a scheduled off day or whatnot. And then Littell obviously changes a little bit, but I'd like to see him in the lineup. You don't have much production versus lefties. Hayes has been awesome and Duhar has been awesome, but you expect a little more out of Steer this year. McLean definitely, although they've been picking it up a little bit. They're not running a near 900 OPS against lefties. So it's probably a scheduled thing, but I'd like to see, because he's one of the top 3 hitters there against lefties. So who knows? Maybe, it's a scheduled thing, but just want to throw that out there with Stevenson not in the lineup.
I think too. I think it's a scheduled off day or just a situation, right? You get this. So Littell was traded on Wednesday to the Reds. Probably got here Friday, maybe, or did he just get to Bristol? I don't know. So you're looking at he's only been here 3 days, maybe 4 days. On those days, Stevenson's been playing. So
good
maybe
point.
Him and Trevino have been sitting, next to each other, game planning, that sort of thing, getting to know each other. Yeah, I'm not too surprised. And Trevino is kind of off. He's not as hot as he was earlier in the year. So,
and also Stevenson coming off a home run, I didn't even mention. So, if it was scheduled, it'd almost be a thing where, he had a home run last night against a righty. Let's see him against a lefty where he sees the ball a little bit bigger for the most part. But, it's probably, you're right. I think Littell probably has been pretty close with Trevino, with them both being on the bench the past 4 days or so. But, hopefully Littell just goes out there and goes scoreless. So, we won't have to explode on offense.
I said 6 innings, but like 7 innings would be great with the bullpen, the situation it's in.
That'd be huge.
It would be so big. Yeah. But, Imanaga is a tough match for the Reds too. Overall, obviously we mentioned a lefty. He's a good starter. Some like a night like tonight, I would love for them to, score 7 or 8 in the first couple innings and just be able to kind of coast in and not have to stay up and just, sit on bated breath, hoping that they can pull it off and don't have to rely on a missed bag by Dansby Swanson.
And I was looking at Fangraphs made a post about the upcoming Reds probables in the games, and I was just looking through the next 9 or so, and we are facing some crazy good pitchers. We got the Pirates series next. We're gonna likely get Skeens and Keller. Then after that, Phillies are coming into town, and we got I think it's Ranger Suarez, Nola, and then Wheeler, who gave us 9 complete game earlier. And then with Imanaga tonight too, he's the best the Cubs have, and he's one of the better lefties in the league. So the offense is really gonna have to wake up. There's a couple lefties in there, and then you'd like to get this series win tonight, and then give yourself a chance to sweep tomorrow, because the Reds have the toughest strength of schedule in the whole league, and I know that doesn't always end up working itself out, because 23 we have one of the easier, and we just completely blow up in August. So maybe it'll be the opposite, but
you just never know. And that's what baseball is just a funny game when it comes to that. NFL, college football, it's pretty easy to compare. But even that being said, college football, all of a sudden you'll get this random blowout or upset on a Saturday night here and there. Yeah. But baseball it just seems like, and I know they mentioned it last night, that the Reds play to their competition, it seems, but maybe not. Maybe it's just we make that up in our heads. But
that's I think you can nitpick that for a lot of teams where you're facing the Rockies and you lose a game and you think you play down to your competition. But I think that just happens in baseball. There's so much talent and so many good arms and all that. So I think each fan base probably says that about their own team a lot. So I'm excited for this weekend. Hopefully, like you said, I'm hoping the Reds can win tonight.
See what happens tomorrow. But the Pirates for 4, as good as Skeens is, and I honestly, I can't remember the Reds actually facing Skeens. I'm
I
sure
believe
he
we
has.
did.
Last year.
I think one time we did in Pittsburgh last year.
But he got blowed up his last start. And again, I'm not saying it,
did he?
Oh yeah.
I didn't see.
Anything can happen, obviously. Like I'm not counting on that. The Pirates have good pitching. Even that Andrew Heaney always, seems like he owns the Reds from a pitching standpoint.
Kind of shocking that they didn't move a guy like him too, because the Pirates aren't really playing for much right now, and they had a couple expirings I know that they didn't end up moving from.
Yeah, I actually saw when I was getting ready for the show. Shout out Just Baseball. They had a little clip.
Yeah.
They mentioned like they might have had the worst deadline for a seller. Well, yeah, because you didn't sell.
Yeah. Keller would have gotten them a bunch too, who the Reds are likely going to face here. I know the Cubs could have used a guy like Keller, especially with Soroka going to the IL.
Man, they're in hot water about that. I'll tell you that. I saw that too on the old X app. And then you go into next week, and I mentioned this earlier in the season, if you remember, Sam, the Marlins Rockies series. I think it was Baltimore, Miami, Colorado.
Yeah.
And I said, let's go 6-3. 6-3. And if you remember, they dropped one in Baltimore, dropped 2 in Miami, and they went 6-3. They swept or whatever. They won the games that I asked, right? They swept Colorado. They won 1 in Miami. They won 2. So yeah, 6-3 they went on the trip. And this kind of reminds me of that, right?
Sure.
For the next, what is it? I guess 10 games. What if they can go 6-4? If they can go 7-3? Yeah, I mean, you'd have to sweep the Cubs and sweep the Pirates and then maybe get swept, but we still haven't been swept, right? But
yeah.
But the Phillies, that is going to be a tough pitching matchup. When we're back here next Tuesday, it's going to be a tough matchup for those 3 if that's who we face. Those are their best. I was listening to another podcast, though, this afternoon, and the Phillies fans are freaking out just about their chances. Yep, Schwarber's had a fantastic year, but they aren't where they want to be.
And, they're still probably the favorite or one of the top 3 favorites to win it all too, with Johan Duran coming in just absolutely electric out of the pen. And then, like you said, Schwarber's going off lately too. So definitely going to be a tough series coming up. But right now for the Reds, you just got to keep winning games and not worrying about the other teams, because there's only so much you can do. If you win games, you're going to stay in it. But if you lose,
exactly right,
you completely can, get yourself out of the race just like that and get 5 or 6 games back. So if we can just try to focus on picking up, 1 or 2 each series, just not getting swept, and then, maybe sprinkle in a sweep here and there, maybe a 4-gamer against the Pirates. Who knows? Those will be huge. But yeah, Padres, Mets, they've been awesome lately. So if the Reds can just keep winning, keep themselves in the race, you never know what can happen down the stretch, really.
Yeah. So I'll let you go through the wild card, but I'm just looking at the standings right here. So the Cubs are 3.5 games up on the Padres, and we are 3 back of the Padres. So there's 6.5 games total spanning the Cubs and us. But you go ahead and run through who the Mets and the Padres are playing here, and see what we can maybe gain another game tonight if the Reds can pull off another win.
Yeah, the Mets, who we're 4 back of right now, they're currently facing Cleveland, and they lost last night. Both the Padres and the Mets, I believe, lost. So hopefully, Cleveland can take care of them again tonight. I believe they're at home, and then I don't know who they have after that. I can get it pulled up here. They play Milwaukee after that. So
hey, perfect.
The Devil Magic, Milwaukee can pull out and probably sweep them just because Milwaukee doesn't lose baseball games anymore. And then Padres, they've got the D-backs who they lost to last night. They've got Darvish on the mound, though, who has struggled a little bit, but his last start out, he was awesome. I just know that because I've been scoreboard watching for like 3 weeks now. So
yes,
it seems like I know more about the Padres and Mets more than the Reds right now. But, that's just the fan coming out, scoreboard watching since June. But, yeah, 2 D-backs and Guardians. D-backs were pretty heavy sellers at the deadline. Guardians, they didn't move Quan, but, they're not buyers by any means. They've had a little bit of a disappointing season, but yeah, 3 back of the Padres and 4 back of the Mets. And I know my answer to this, but who do you feel more confident in catching up to, or less scared? Who do you fear less out of the Mets and Padres?
I said last night I thought that the Mets or the Phillies were going to fall out.
Yeah,
I really thought the Padres might run away with it a little bit, but I'm looking at their schedule and
I agree.
They play the Dodgers. Oh, I'm not finished yet. They play the Dodgers a couple more times this month. They play Seattle. They play Boston this upcoming weekend, and they play Milwaukee another time, and Arizona again. In Arizona, they sold, but they're not a bad team. They got some good pieces down there.
Corbin Carroll and Marte are awesome, so their offense is still there.
The Mets are going to Met, I think.
Yeah, that's my same thought process.
But
their bullpen's nails.
The Padres have a team, but I also wonder if they are one of those guys where it's like, yeah, we have Machado and Tatis, but do we actually have a team? Like, are they talented but not a great team?
And their pitching isn't great. Their bullpen, they've got Suarez as their closer, and then they pick up Mason Miller, who's probably the value-wise best bullpen arm of the game, because you have him for 5 years probably left. So
I think like 3 or 4.
Oh, 3? Okay.
Yeah.
Still, he throws 130 miles per hour it seems like.
That's a tough. Saying that's so tough. That's assuming that the Reds keep it in, right, and keep winning.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing for us.
Yeah, really, like you said, you just have to win games. You win games, and other teams will fall, because there's just the chances of them keeping up with you is probably slim if you continue to win. So that's really what it comes down to, and win when they lose.
And both teams don't have really average to below average starting pitching. The Mets are throwing out Frankie Montas every 5 days, who
God bless
the Reds and then the Padres, Cease is having a down year, but he's still a solid pitcher. And Darvish, he's a name, but he's had another down year. So I like the Reds pitching more than theirs, but they've definitely got the offense on us, and you just never know. The Padres seems like they've been awesome this month, and then the Mets, they're just up and down.
And I'll end it at this. Here is what it comes down to. There are a lot more talented teams out there. I'm not going to say better than, like, more talented than the Reds. Like, certainly there are.
Yeah.
The Braves are not a good team this year.
Nope.
Do they have more talent than the Reds in some places and a lot of places? I believe they do. Austin Riley is a fantastic player. Matt Olson is fantastic. Think about it. And I know we're kind of running over, but catcher, first baseman, third baseman, all better than I would take them over our players.
Yeah.
Their outfield, Harris is okay. But yes, they've had bad starting pitching, but and Acuña's, I know he's hurt now, but man, sometimes there's some bad mojo, and I don't know what's going on in Atlanta. I know they've had major pitching issues with injuries, but you just never know what happens in these clubhouses. And that's what I said last night. I think that really plays a lot into the team. This is not a computer game. So hopefully something happens with the Mets and the Padres, and the Reds continue to get together. And just continue to win games. So
yeah, and we're going to play them both. So
yeah,
there's where you can make up the ground most. So
exactly. And you know what? Lastly on this topic, and we'll wrap up. I don't think the Cubs are. Think about this: if the Reds sweep the Cubs, the Cubs are back down. They are in that 4-team fight, because I think the Reds are pretty much comfortable in it. I don't think the Cardinals or anyone below the Cardinals are going to jump up. So it's a 4-team fight for 3 spots. And if the Reds can sweep the Cubs, they're in this with the rest of us. So,
and the Cubs, who haven't been, their pitching's been a little iffy all year. They lose another starter in Soroka, who they just added, and their offense who has carried them the whole year. One of the better offenses in the league, has been abysmal since the All-Star break and deadline. So, Reed Moss in the chat here. He's not liking what we're saying, but they just haven't, Matt Shaw has been really carrying them this second half. So if they're losing pitching like this, who knows? A sweep would be awesome here. I'm not going to expect a sweep at all because, they've definitely got the pitching matchup tonight with Imanaga on the bump and PCA back in there, but anything can happen really. And they're probably the third team there that I would behind the Padres and Mets, who probably have the best chance because the Brewers are just going to run away with it because everyone equally hates the Brewers, probably the Cubs more so than
and
us.
This is for Reed. I would much rather the Cubs win the division than the Brewers. Like I literally hate the Brewers.
Yep.
So I'm team Cubs, win the division. We need that. And then hopefully the Brewers fall apart and they don't make the playoffs, but I don't think that's going to happen either.
That'd be a miracle.
Yeah, they're on fire. So, alrighty, Sam, let's leave it out here on a score prediction. I saw some in the chat. Our guy, Jacob Doyle, dropped a couple here and it's kind of ran up. I can't find them anymore, but I saw a few. What's your score prediction or just an overall prediction for tonight?
Yeah. One's going to be blowing in Wrigley. I saw a couple comments about that. I think it's going to be a grinded out game, 0-0 going into the 8th. And then Santiago Espinal gets a hold of one and sends one into the basket.
Whoa.
So
wow.
Reds are going to win this one 1-0. Pagan's going to limp his way out to the mound again and close it down here for us. But yeah, we're going to take game 2 tonight here.
Yeah, I think it's going to be closer to what Mr. E3506. I like the 7-3 Reds. I mean, I really do. I think that we can, get a couple runs on the board tonight. I think Noelvi's going to have a couple big time hits, maybe even a home run. I like the basket shot. By the way, that's the stupidest thing for Wrigley. I don't know why they have baskets. So
it's unique.
That's kind of a dump. But the anyway, guys, we'll let you all go. Get ready to watch the Reds Cubs. Remember, if the Reds start winning, get out your X.com app. Blow up Reed Mouse. Let him know that the Cubs are losing, even though he's watching it. He's watching on his FanDuel Sports app that he watches the Reds games on too, as a closet Reds fan. So we'll see you all tomorrow. I won't see you. Sam won't see you, but the pregame show will see you. And we'll also see the big L flag flying outside Reed Mouse's estate here in the wonderful city of Hamilton, Ohio. Y'all have a fantastic night.
Go Reds.